teach the world to sing. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. That's the song I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I like to buy the world a
your cell phone, your wallet, your time, your ideas, no barcode, no party, no ID, no beers, your bank card, your license, your thoughts, your fears, no SIM card, no disco, no photo, not here, your blood, your sweat, your passions, your regrets, your profits, your time off, your fashions, your sex, your pills, your grass, your tits, your ass, your laughs, your balls, we want
your soul. Your house, your home, your life, your cash, your house, your home. We want your soul. Your house, your home, your life, your cash, your house, your home. We want your soul.
Tell us your habits, your fads, your fears. Give us your address, your shoe size, your years, your digits, your plans, your number, your eyes, your schedule, your desktop, your details, your life. Show us your children, your photos, your home. Here, take credit, take insurance, take a loan. Get a job, get a pension, get a haircut, get a suit. Playing the lottery, play football, play the field, snort some toot. We'll show you dreams, we'll show you smooth, we'll buy you dreams, throw away your blue. We'll sell you crap, we'll charge you that. Wanna buy big guns, we'll front the cash.
Your soul, your house, your home. We want your soul. Your house, your home. We want your soul. Your house, your home. We want your soul. Your house, your home. We want
your thoughts, your emotions, your love, your dreams, your checkbook, your essence, your sweat, your screams, your security, your sobriety, your innocence, your society, yourself, your place, your distance, your space.
Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here, watch this. Shut up. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
For the great taste
Bring your work home again, Tom?
of McDonald's.
From Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Are we live? Are we there? Everybody who's checking in? Yes. Elisa, you're on camera. Don't watch your laptop because you will hear the digital delay. Everybody, who's there? Who do we got in this room? We got a few people. Chris,
Good evening,
right.
everyone.
Yes. We have Chris. We have Mark Trentz. We have Scott Mitchell Atkins. Yeah, Scott, where are you? Are you in Bali?
Hi, Mark and Nassim. Welcome.
Yes. We have Chris. We have Mark Trentz. Oh, we have a bit of a delay. Okay, well, hey, we're using Wirecast software. We're transmitting from an RV, and we're pulling in Elisa's signal from Las Vegas, and we're Facebook Living it to you guys. This is a first chance. We'll see what happens. Questions for Elisa. Chris asks, am I on acid? Now, not having met Chris, can you discern an answer to that question? I've met Chris, and I think his friend Ben might have been. Let's just leave it at that. Mark, if you have any questions, we know we're waiting to hear your weighing in, and possibly next week, Mark Trentz might be the special guest. But I concede the floor to Elisa, our culture hacker of the hour. And the topics, we have many, and we're waiting. We're holding it up for the audience, but let's see. Love the delay. We have digital delay. Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, there's digital
Okay,
delay.
it's our first one, so it's bound to happen, you know.
Oh my God!
Let's
This whole
go
thing
with
has
it.
digital delay. I could go with it. I'm going to let you talk, and I'm going to turn my mic off, and then there will be no digital delay. Take it away.
Yes, it's a little distracting because in one ear I'm listening to the delay, and this ear I'm trying to think about what's happening now. So I feel like I'm bridging space and time right now. You know, I have one foot in the future and one foot in the past.
That's a good description, but turn down your laptop volume. There might still be hope, because maybe your delay is just the laptop volume. Me, I'm not seeing delay.
Got it. Thank you. That's why I keep you around.
Let's see. I'm not hearing any delay. Anybody there, can you weigh in on the comments and let us know? All right, cool. Chris says, no delay anymore. Bob Henze, hello, Las Vegas.
Hello, Bob. Hello.
All right. I'm so happy. Take it away. First question.
Yes, so let's talk about Los Angeles decompression, you know, because we have three of us here that were also at Decomp, so I think we can easily start with this topic.
Perfect.
So I'm wondering right now if anyone else was also at this event and also what you thought of the event. For me, it was amazing. Like, it was, I really loved the Destiny Lounge 3D. I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but I met some amazing artists. Scarlett was painting mandalas with blacklight paint, and they were doing blacklight body paint. Like, it was amazing, like with 3D glasses and painting with 3D glasses on, and just like in many dimensions. It was like the best.
And apparently the fact that LA decompression actually even happened this year was no small miracle. And we were going to try to do a simulcast live stream from Los Angeles to San Francisco at the same time, because the permit problems in LA, they had to have the event happen on the same day. The first time ever they had decoms on the same day, but it wasn't quite possible to bring that all together at the same time. That's a tall order for burners to do. So after trying still to do a single solitary broadcast there, and technical snafu after snafu, and I had come to the point of completely giving up on the stream and just go out and have fun. And then there was a little knock, 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 hello on the RV, like, hey, what kind of RV is this? And then enter Elisa, and then the brainstorming began, and that's led to this show less than 2 weeks later, and our friends and questions to answer, and what do we want to do about our hacking in Los Angeles or Las Vegas and out there. Back to you, Elisa.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to speak about hacking. For me, it's really, for me, really, hacking has many different levels, and I was talking with Greg earlier about, right now I'm currently inspired by Caldera, and I've been, reading about him and also studying his work. And actually, like, for me right now, hacking means actually doing what you love. Because I feel like there's so much, pressure in society just to do what's accepted, to do, to be part of the norm, to be part of the mainstream, and really to slave away your time, and feel like this pressure to do that. But instead, like, I feel like it's actually an act of rebellion instead, and an act of hacking culture, in fact, to do what it is you really love with no fear of the outcome. And so this is truly the creative pursuit, right? Is trying to really do your passion without any fear of outcome. And that's the only way that you can actually achieve your creative potential is actually when you can free yourself from outcomes, right? And so for me right now, Caldera, he's really a role model for this. And the reason is because, he made his success actually with a tiny circus that was carried around Paris in 4 suitcases. And with this name, he created with this project, he created a name for himself. And who would ever think that a tiny circus like this could actually launch his career?
Yeah, exactly. I had to do a little bit of research once you dropped his name. I had heard about something he was doing mobile. And of course, the word mobile just piques my curiosity always, living tech-nomadic for so long. But he, at his peak, what was the peak of his career? What years in Paris?
It's a good question. Actually, I'm not sure. I know he was from Pennsylvania, and he was a transplant. I think it was his dream to live in Paris, but I'm not really sure the years, in fact.
Well, the two things that stuck out from doing a little bit of research is when the guy was working, apparently they could not rub a smile off his face. He was always enthralled with everything that he did. And the other thing was when it came to mobile, it was actually mobile. He's credited with inventing the hanging, moving sculpture of sorts, a mobile. So that and the little traveling 4-suitcase circus, hats off to that.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, that's really like, it's really my passion, like, is trying to figure out how, how can we restructure society in a way where everyone can really do what they're passionate about, what they really love, and to create an environment where people feel safe to do this. They feel safe to take risks, because in my mind, like, the world is a better place when everyone is really doing what they love to do, so this is really like, and currently I'm working in a teaching role, like encouraging children to take that path in life, so it's not easy.
To take risks.
Yes, exactly. Like to not worry about mistakes, because mistakes are the pathway to learning, so really to embrace the mistake making process, to understand that. And I feel like this is, really strong in the burner community. It's really a supportive environment for the creative pursuit.
And when you say sometimes no wrong answers, take risks, whoops, obstacles making opportunities. How do you teach that to 10-year-olds in Las Vegas?
Yes, it's a process, but actually the children they learn very fast. In fact, they're age 10, so it's the magic decade, so they're very open to it, and I absolutely love it. It's a fascinating challenge, and actually on Fridays we do something called Team Challenge, and so one that I did was I just gave them a really simple task. I gave them 3 pieces of cotton, and I asked them to make the longest continuous line that they could. And actually almost everyone made just a regular straight line. But there was one group of students that made an infinity symbol out of the cotton, and it's like, this is the type of thinking that I love to encourage, because like kids, I believe in their creative potential. Like they still have not become jaded to creativity. They don't judge their ideas as we do when we become adults. Like we start judging our ideas, we start saying this is a good idea or a bad idea, and that it kills all of the creativity that we have, actually.
Just starting a streaming show, for example, it's like, are we ready? We really weren't really ready for this, but it was like cramming for a term paper to get all the technology to work. So here we are. Take the risk. And thankfully we have an audience of friends right here. So we're recording it to disc. Yeah, so we'll be supportive, we hope. We'll learn a lot from this experience and see what happens next week.
Yes,
hopefully do Wednesdays.
It's a learning experience, so let us know how we can also improve and for the next time. But, we kind of just have to jump in and see what happens. Like, I'm all about just also seeing what happens, live in the moment and see where it takes you. And you never know sometimes. Like, for example, I never would have imagined I would be here with you now. In fact, like Skyping from into the show, and just meeting you in Los Angeles, like, when the biggest risks yield the biggest rewards, right, in life. So we never know unless we try.
Yep. And RVs are risky in general. I really have to say that having the engine blow on me after a summer of preparing both machines, and then when it's done and on the way back the engine blew, I was like, seriously? Like, really, what at this point, what is wrong with my path that happened? So I had to sit back for a little while, go to Burning Man in a car, come back, go to Moon Tribe, and it was Moon Tribe really that led me back to Burning Man decom. So thankfully I landed back on my culture hacking path, and with a kick in the ass from Elisa. So now some of you guys that I met just like a little over a week ago, Chris and company, up there in Victorville holding down the whole desert thing. I know you guys are ready to hack. Nasim almost made it on up there, and she had a car incident of her own. I think I want to try something just as a little break away just for a minute, because you're talking about, taking that risk and thinking twice, and the second guessing is sometimes what kills us, right? And teaching kids to be creative and the whole thing, no wrong answers, except when it's test time. So this being our stream, being our test time, there was somebody who influenced me, who actually came, and I do tech support, refurbishing laptops, and I helped her out with the laptop. She started a YouTube channel. It's got a lot of subscribers. And back in the early days, she did a video of just like, I really wanted to start, but there was so much, doubt and I wasn't sure about it, and I grabbed a little bit of video from that and tried mixing, and I'm going to try playing it right now, and I hope the digital delay doesn't come back. But let's try and see, and then come back to this topic and wait for your questions, you guys. We're waiting for your questions in the comments. I'm not seeing particular questions until that happens.
Be happy to hear from you.
Happy to hear from... Oh, I'm happy to hear from everybody here, and the commentary is good, but we want some specifics, and I think that's why we started the show. Like, I wanted to do pop-up parties, and getting the RVs cross town, getting people, crew to help do the pop-up party was seeming a little bit impossible. After the engine blew, I was like, all right, that's next spring. But we want to do something creative now. So these streams about culture hacking could maybe also be kind of like planning parties. Like, what's our best thing? Pop-up parties with an RV, that's just one aspect. So Elisa brings the teaching, the traveling, some risk-taking, and filling in the blank. And then Jasmine, I don't know if Jasmine's watching, but let's cut to her video really fast because she was inspirational for just getting off of our collective ass. Here she goes, Jasmine.
I was just so caught up in what people would think about. I was just so caught up in what people would think about me that I didn't. I was just so caught up in what people would think about me that I didn't start. But the pain got so intense from just not doing it. It got more than the pain of actually thinking about actually doing it. So I started. Today I've learned that this is really just part of the process of creating anything. One of my favorite books of all time is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And in this book, she writes about this concept of ideas being spirits just roaming around, and they're just looking for some human person, human body to actualize them so that they can be in this beautiful world with us. This idea really took the pressure off of creating for me because I was like, okay, this is not all about me. It's about this thing that's roaming around and just wants to be actualized. And when I think about creating and my ideas like that, it really allows me to put the focus on something else rather than just myself and what people are going to think about me, because that really just gets you stuck in this fear rut, right? So anytime I feel this fear from an idea that excites me, I just remember that it's just a spirit out there that wants to come into fruition, and maybe that person isn't me, but if it is, if I feel that tingling feeling of inspiration and excitement and I actually make an agreement with this idea, then I go for it. I was just so caught up in what people would think about me that I didn't start. But
I think you're freaky and I like you a lot. I think you're freaky and I like you a lot. I think you're freaky and I like you a lot. I think you're freaky and I think you're freaky and
Okay, we're back. We're back as that little snippet. And the nice thing about this Wirecast software is I can have a whole bunch of movies and references. So like when you brought up that whole thing about jumping in and not second guessing, it's like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this video from her that I kind of remixed a little bit thanks to this guy, Bad and Rad, who gave me some other video materials and soundtracks. So it's all this remixing artistry. Ideally with our machines. But we have to allow it to be a little bit messy. My little thing is, if you don't train wreck, you're not trying. Tonight we're going to train wreck a little bit. Oh, wow, we got more echo back again. Oh, yeah, the echo. Okay, the echo's gone now, right, you guys? The echo's gone. Thank you for our crowd letting us know. Delay. So that all that crap I just said, let's just go back to where we picked up, taking chances, and back to Elisa, and back to the credits so you guys know who she is, and live from LA remixing, and take it away.
Yeah, for me, really the true pleasure of life when I think back on everything I've done so far, it's really the moments that I've made projects with friends, and so for me, I'm just glad that everyone is here because it's amazing to me what we can do all together. Like by ourselves, we can do very little. And I really feel that even just today with you, Greg, just making this show, it's like, you know, when we can work together, it's empowering, you know, it's amazing. And I think everything is possible and it's really limitless, you know, and I really think that it can be great just to start a dialogue and to figure out, you know, in these times, like, you know, how can we make a positive impact? Like, what are ideas that people have that we could, you know, start spearheading? Because really, you know, we need this more and more in the world. Like, and in fact, the next journey that I really wanted to do is actually a bus trip to South America, all the way to Patagonia, and actually trying to do it without exchanging currency at all. Just because, like, I love to do projects that are with hope, that will inspire people, that will show them that there are really no limitations. The only limitations are in our own minds, you know. And so this is really what I love to do, projects like this that can inspire more people to believe it's possible. So yes, I would love to also hear from the ideas that you're excited about. What are your passions? You know, what are the projects that really are exciting you now? And, you know, what are your dreams now? What are the things that you are trying to make happen? And also, we never know, like, if we put them out there, it's possible, you know, like, the more you speak about projects, the more they start coming true. You know, and it's actually, like, when I first met Greg, like, I was just also speaking about this project, you know, and then, like, this a beautiful you know, RV that you have, I saw it, you know, and I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. And it's funny because, like, I've really been trying to manifest this, you know. So and then I met you, so it's amazing.
Yeah, and wait, let me see if we can have. There we go. There's some RV shots down in the bottom, and on cue. That's me, like, praying that the engine isn't going to die. A lot of my friends, like, you know, Travis, Core, I don't know if Core is on here right now, but have done these caravans, like a whole lot of people all together having to cooperate on the road. And that's a whole next level. And I did that years and years and years ago with the 2 RVs coast to coast and back. And that was the last time we blew an engine, you know, after 100,000 miles. Eventually these RVs blow engines periodically. You got to prepare for that. Now, if you have a whole community, and Nassim is saying, yes, it's about building communities. And mobile communities, well, that is a big extra step that requires some concentration. And you look at the resources, other people's abilities, and the main thing is Los Angeles, free time. And getting from east side to west side is the biggest struggle, apparently. So I park out at the beach a lot and think about how to bring people together, and it's not through just the laptops and the software and the RVs. That part drives me freaking crazy. So at Burning Man DCOM, where I said, forget about it, I'm just going to shut this stuff down and go out and meet people. Boom, presto. I feel like I was back in the community. So it was a good experience. Bob is saying, Sebastian. It was the Sebastian art car that delivered Elisa to the party, and it had to rescue her from Malibu, and that was our Instagram. We're like 220 views and counting. The rooftop Sebastian rescue.
Yes, it's really thanks to Bob. Bob, thank you for ensuring Sebastian and making him safe for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. and thank you for Jason driving out and picking you up there. Mark Trance, if there ain't no problems, it ain't real.
Yes, it's very true. Problems are only opportunities.
And together we rise. And Tommy McCarthy, good to see you, Tommy. Hey, brother, can you record a song in that rig of yours? Yes, ideally it would be with another sound technician, because seriously, it's a whole lot of stuff to juggle. And one of these days I'll give an updated tour of the innards of this RV. But the amount of things just to keep them going, and then signal flow is out of control. And Tommy, to answer your question, you can record a song in this rig, but you don't want to expect that you're going to have sound isolation. As long as you're okay with the truck all of a sudden going right outside and adding to the ambiance, we make industrial music wherever we go, probably. Yeah, and the little RV, that's the main thing I wanted to bring up, is the silver RV is the main RV, and it's got a full kilowatt, full studio, it's got a kinetic articulating desk, and if ain't no problems, it ain't real, yeah. The thing is, it's 26 feet long, so we had to, I bought the 23-footer to diversify a little bit, and when it got totaled, cut it down to 21 feet, which apparently has made it into the cutest RV, because 2 or 3 times a day, at least, people are coming by out at the beach, knocking and wanting to know what's up with it. They've never seen the thing before. Hence, Elisa's first question. And then all the questions that came after that. What other topics are we not hitting on yet? What about just being back from Morocco, for example, and the saying Inshallah?
Yeah, for me, like I'm really trying to embody this way of life right now. Inshallah means a lot to me because actually, like just letting go and just really just like kind of living in the flow state, and there's like many different ways of using that that expression, but actually it means like in God or God willing, and so once you can just relax, just like let things go and not forcing things, just kind of like when things are meant to happen, they will happen. You don't have to move something, to change something, like it's just coming, and I feel like this is like trying to stay in this way and just really and then also like talking about creativity. Once you can live with that state of mind, like you also don't worry because you're like, okay, like I tell myself every day, like working with some educators, like it can be very stressful, and everyone is always worried about everything, and I'm always just kind of like, people are wondering like, why am I so just like, I don't care, but it's not that I don't care, it's just that like I'm like, if I'm meant to be a teacher, if this is meant to be my path, then it's going to work, and I'm here for a reason, like this is happening for a reason, and this is exactly where I'm meant to be right now. Like I'm exactly the place and the time and everything. So I can relax in that place and just enjoy the moment. It helps you just to enjoy, to be where you are, to enjoy the moments of life, and once you start enjoying life, then the amazing things happen too, because like it really goes back to that idea of joy, that we talked about with going back to caldera. Going back to living a joyful existence is when you can really start attracting in the things that you want to bring into your life, is when you can live in this state of this state of feeling good, this state of joy, this state of happiness, and
Totally.
So it's all a part of this path.
Yeah, for me it's an ebb and flow because I'm just like overtaken by the machines that it requires to do this thing, and then also constantly promoting, hey, you guys, if you want to kick in kind of like crew, then look at what we could do. But to articulate that while I'm in motion seems to be too much. Now, Tommy McCarthy's saying, I have an idea for a show, and your proposition, hey, there we go. There's already success from this show. He says, if I bring an engineer, if I bring a sound engineer, could we record a song? Absolutely. Let's culture hack that, Tommy. Let's culture hack that. And now the engineer is going to have to come into this cramped, crazy place and work with some of the existing gear here, and then we'll make some room for you. I could just go and move some stuff off. Tommy, check this out. The desk raises and lowers. It's an electronic raising desk. So if you want to do your show standing up, we're ready to facilitate basically. So then once you've got that going on, you've got a crew, you got a tight crew, you're not rushed for time. You go out into the wilderness and then you create out in the great outdoors. Like if people could get away for 3 or 4 days in a Burning Man state of mind, but it's not going to be just like showing off and burning it all at the end, but actually it's come together and build something in a Burning Man vibe. Temporal Autonomous Zone, Hackham Bay, the Taz, huge. If you have never read that, I think that would be a requirement. Tommy, no, I don't have I do have Logic, but it's not configured. Pro Tools, yeah, I don't know either of those programs very well. I am an Ableton Live guy. Mark Trance, I think maybe has dabbled in some Pro Tools and Logic, and if you guys connected, I would be Mikasa Sukasa. But back to this building party kind of thing, go to a campground where there's not too many people, where you can play music into the night and say, all right, we'll take a day, 2, 3, 4, maybe stay a week and record and finish, master a song, upload it, drop the track, have a flash mob, repeat. So
yeah, like for me, I feel like with this idea, like the main thing is to not have too many expectations, like if you're trying to produce some type of outcome, it's more of like, let's get together and let's see what happens. Like to me, the best things in life, they happen when you're not trying really, it's kind of like just to get together and to see, like, we can have some rough like ideas of what we want, but in the creative process, I don't know if this happens to you, but like I never know, like I think I always start with one way, and then something else totally different sometimes happens, you know?
Right.
So we never know in life. It's always a surprise. And I love to be surprised instead of disappointed, you know? So this really helps, like, to have this outlook, I feel like, is just to, like, let's see what happens.
Totally. To see what happens now, I'm 100% there, right? Otherwise, I never would have bought an RV in the first place and escaped the East Coast, right? But then when I started building it, constructing it, it's like, wow, got solar panels. Look what you can do without the noise or the fumes or the expense of the gasoline of a generator. I was like, wow, that was an incredible thing. And I was experiencing it on my own and wanting to share it. And then when wireless broadband came to LA and I had both of them, I was like, all right, I'm not even worrying about recording my own music right now. It's all about the portal, this situation, and being able to take it, situational, temporal, autonomous zone, and see what kind of art can be made out of that. Now, the whole thing about see what happens, for me, for years, it's been just too much on my shoulders, you know, tech-wise, to keep it going. So then when you do all that work on the tech, and it's therapeutic to talk about all this, you guys, you get attached to an end result. Okay. But if I could separate from that from time to time, or have a crew of other people taking other positions from time to time, then I could also join that party and say, hey, let's truly see what happens. And we could just jump off and have no expectations. I want to personally get back to that. So if anybody jumps on board to help facilitate that, I would be most appreciative. And we'll just take turns having the show be all about you. Now, notice the show has been with Elisa as the muse who guides the conversation along, but it's not all about her. It's about the adventures. It's about the places she's gone, the teaching, and the observations, and the next level. So what is the next level beyond going to Terra Chroma this weekend down in the forest?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really interested in creating a journey or a pathway, like, you know, to Patagonia with a specific intention of not arriving, you know, like that's not my intention. My intention is not just to get to Patagonia, you know. It's like I know there will be breakdowns, like I know there will be obstacles, like and that is to be expected, you know. It's more about the journey and the process, you know, and just really, like, you know, for me that's the next challenge is kind of, you know, taking this and it's really because I don't know, this is the way that I've traveled. Like I've done some experimentation with my travels now, and so I like to give myself a challenge, you know, and because this is the way that I grow and improve and evolve, you know. So for a while, like I lived without any electronic devices, like, and in foreign countries. Like I just went to Istanbul with no like map, no nothing. And some people will say that sounds insane, you know, like just to like show up in the airport and then I'm just like talking to people and I'm like, okay, I meet this person and then that was interesting and then I go to this next point and then, you know, and I'm like, okay, if I can't find that place, I'm not meant to go there. Or like just being really like, you know, and then really like you start tuning into this analog life of like synchronicity, you know, that we sometimes lose when we're always with our device, you know, when we're always with our electronics, like we miss out on those cues, you know, and so we become less intuitive, you know. So for me, like that period of life when I just totally disconnected from all of that, like it was really when I could really develop this intuitive sense, you know. And so that was like, and when and going back to flow state, you know, so like that was an amazing experience for me. Like I loved it. And so I did that, and then also tried to live without exchanging currency for a while, and actually
there's a challenge.
Yeah, actually that period of life I was living in Paris, you know, and so it is possible, you know, you can do it. I like to experiment with different ways of relating, you know, of different ways of living in communities, you know, and so that was actually really challenging, this project for me, just because, you know, my friend Marie and I, along with a whole community of people in Paris, we co-founded a creative space in Canal Saint-Martin, and it's a neighborhood in Paris, like kind of a bobo neighborhood. It's like bohemian, and if you're not familiar. And so there, you know, we were creating this space, but a lot of times, you know, within the space, we kind of we got the space through a collaboration with a proprietor, a building owner, and he gifted us the space, and then we gifted it to the community. And this was an ongoing set of projects that we began in San Francisco, and then the idea just, you know, was spreading. And so yes, with the help of the San Francisco crew, Zuck and some other folks, we made the project happen in Paris, you know. And so the only rule is that there's no money exchanged in the space, and actually we also didn't include drugs or alcohol in the space at all. And so that
couldn't be part of the exchange then, apparently.
Yeah, no,
kept it clean.
Yes, it's just because, like, you know, to manage a space like that, when you involve drugs and alcohol, it becomes a whole other level thing. And it's like there's plenty of places in Paris to go if you want to go somewhere and drink and do drugs. Like, there's plenty of clubs or places. Like, this is not the place for that. Like, going back to what you said, this is a place where we're building something. We're building a community.
Yes.
You know, we're coming into this space with the intention of sharing and expanding and building, and so, like, then that's what it became.
And just last night, talking about drugs and alcohol, okay, the RV is legal to park out at this beach from 5 a.m. until midnight. At the stroke of midnight, you have to be ready because 1 out of every 5 times the cops come down and they pounce, and they immediately will write you a parking ticket or they'll have cause to search your vehicle. So you and I were Skyping, we were testing things out last night. I'm like, it's 11:58, but I don't know, I'm feeling kind of lucky. We're not going to have the cops coming. But then the wiser me said, no, stick your head out and look, start the engine, turn the lights on, get ready to leave. Because yes, drugs, alcohol, marijuana is legal. I wasn't intoxicated at the moment, but you never know. You don't want cops coming on board your vehicle. So when people want to collaborate and they're the more enlightened artists, shall we say, and they're coming onto this vehicle that could end up getting impounded, and there goes the whole story. You know, be cool or can't be cool. You know, that's why we have 2 RVs, basically. You know, one's got everything, and the other one's more of the green room, chill area, I suppose. Having other vehicles, safe spaces, if you will. But last night at 12:01, the cops did pounce, and the vehicle behind me, they had 3 people pinned down on the sand, flashlights, 3 cops, 3 people pinned, and I drove quietly away on the phone with Elisa saying, well, yeah, I guess my nomadic nature did save me from disaster. Let's check back in tomorrow. And up the hill I went, culture hacking away, sleeping at the top of the hill in the rich people's neighborhoods, and then back down first thing in the morning at the beach, and then back to LA in 100-degree heat so I could be with all you all. And let's see, we've also got Karina Wilson saying, sounds like backpacking in the 90s. Yes, said Kurt, love Istanbul. You know, I was in Istanbul late 90s, as a matter of fact. It's been a long time. How recently were you there, Elisa? Istanbul? Uh-oh, you guys. Elisa's Skype has frozen. Oh, man. Culture hacking. Bad timing. Call me back, Elisa. You guys, we're going to have to go to a little bit of an entertainment break while I work on her Skype signal. Damn the software. You guys seeing that? She's frozen. Oh, man, now it's just me. Okay, she's going to call back. Let's give you guys just a minute here. This was an alternate introduction.
Introduction music for what could be some educational broadcast from a public broadcasting network. Next up, stay tuned for your favorite show. Your favorite raver reality show. No. It's a story. It's a classic story. It's a bit of mythology. It's a serious literary movement and an educational broadcast. But no, it's not. Because it goes back to the core, the molecule, the center, the commonality between dissimilar people still sharing the same planet and of the same species and the same time frame. If the soul is eternal, then how interesting and how lucky to cross your path. Person to person, interpersonal communication, electronic age, rave, no. Overdose. App to smack, back, jack, do it again. History repeats itself, and so soul to soul, planet to planet, billions of stars in any given galaxy? Okay. Start from the molecule, the single cell, split, atom, energy, innovation, if we could be so serious with ourselves, to earn a living, to earn a living through movement, personal satisfaction, or something you're trying to teach the masses, information that you can no longer contain, information that is not always beautiful, not always pretty, certainly, rarely, effort-free, but streaming. And solar-powered supersonic streaming while making one's way across town, missing out on the road rage, traffic jam, rush hour, remnants of a previous age, with real-time ESP just one step away from reality, eventuality, jet propulsion packs, solar-powered on one's back, cross the planet. Cross the planet. Crossing the interstellar streaming system, perhaps.
Yes, we're back. We're only halfway back, you guys. We're halfway back. We got to get Elisa's image back on. Oh, Wirecast software. I could tell you guys a thing or two about it. But, all right. Skype. And is Elisa back? Yes. Audio delay. Everybody there?
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Chris, fascist pigs. Fascist pigs. It was Google. It was Google's fault. Bob, the stream is hopefully back up. And we were talking about Istanbul and what else? Oh, Travis says the broadcast is down. Really? Oh, it is. The broadcast is down. Okay, I'm going to have to call. Yeah, here we go. No, it's not. Yeah, okay, it's going back on.
Yeah, I think it's on now.
Nope. He's right. It was down. I think we're back.
Yes,
back,
I think
Jack,
so
do it
too.
again. Yeah, you guys, I think we're back. I don't know at what point we lost you.
Back after these messages.
Yeah, exactly. I tried that. Okay, we are live. Yes, we are back, and the audio I think is okay.
You have to create a little bit of suspense, no?
Oh my God! Yeah, this juggling act is really ridiculous.
It's not interesting if everything is perfect. So welcome to reality.
Yeah,
nice.
Welcome to reality, Benjamin. Benjamin is here. Welcome to reality. Yes. All right, you guys. There's that song by The Doors where the lyric goes, "I love the friends I have gathered here together on this thin raft. We have constructed pyramids in honor of our escaping. This is the land where the pharaoh died." That's culture hacking, and that was Jim Morrison talking about the land where the pharaoh died. And love the friends we've gathered here together on this thin raft, this streaming thing that's falling apart at the seams. We'll get it better over time, but what's Bob saying about midnight? What's Benjamin saying about this? What's Elisa saying about culture hacking?
I don't even know at this point.
All right, Benjamin, we want your question, man. You are the man of the hour.
Yes, ask us a question. That can be really fun.
Jonathan! Jonathan was the guy who I met at the parking lot in San Diego where I had this main RV and we had like 4 different camera things set up, and he was like, "What is this all about?" It's like, well, ideally a mobile streaming show. And within an hour, he's like, "Sign me up. Let's do this. Let's do it." I said, "Okay, we're going to do an event in 2 or 3 weeks here at San Diego at the top of the hill of Black's Beach, where people are walking by. It's their access to the beach. So we had a captive audience of all stripes. Now, San Diego people are pretty cool, and people going to that beach are pretty cool, but they're not expecting all of this going on. But Jonathan held it down with me that early evening, a few different camera angles, introducing people to what it was we were going to do in 2 or 3 weeks. And then the engine blew in the RV, and we had to reconstruct, and Jonathan's up in Northern California right now. But thank you for weighing in, man. Really, like I was saying, that Jim Morrison quote. Okay, Benjamin has a question. How many people are necessary to effectively grow a counterculture? Well, I thought you were going to ask how many people are necessary to effectively put on a live stream. More than just me, apparently, and this Wirecast software. To grow a counterculture, the 60s tried, and they were. Was it effective? I don't know. Elisa, doing research on the 60s, and from an American or Parisian standpoint, your question, your response to Benjamin?
Sure, I can definitely respond to this question. So for me, protesting is not necessarily effective, right? We have to take action. You know, we have to make something. Like one of my favorite quotes is like, "Don't complain, but fix it." You know, that's really required of us. Is like, you know, we cannot blame our government for something. You know, we cannot blame anyone for our problems, right? We have to do something about it. You know, because everyone is always like, yes, someone else will take care of it, or people love to complain about the status quo. You know, like how things are. So, I mean, for me, it's really, you know, the 60s were not really successful, only in that, like, you know, it was mostly with protesting, but not, and there was also some actions, you know, but I think that we just have to move away from that and more, you know, take actions in building things, you know, and so that's where like community comes in for me, is like really, you know, creating things and working together and making something, building something. Exactly. Now, the 60s were the Great Awakening, basically. And where did we take that? The Great Awakening, the Great Wake and Bake. The 70s became the me generation. You know, it was centered on me. And then the 80s, yuppies, prosperity. The 90s, the internet. That was the most exciting thing that's happened to us in a long time. The early pioneer days of the internet and what was possible. And just watching the evolution of these devices and these machines, and then the old school RVs, the combination and solar becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. We have the potential to start a really incredible movement. And, you know, Chris, for example, you know, I could just tell from your commentary, a critical mass is needed. You know, Burning Man is a critical mass. Yes, Nassim, start with a few, can create a ripple effect. I toast to all of you who are here with us today. Really, seriously, you know, yes, thank you for being here and for your support too. It's really, I love what you guys are saying, and it's really true. And, you know, I do this a lot because I study like a microcosm of a community in my classroom, and I get to experiment, you know, with groups of children who are also very malleable, which sounds kind of like, you know, but it's really great because I teach them a lot about this, you know, of how like one kind of action ripples out, and we watch it and we track it and we see, because, you know, we have this kindness box and this concern box, you know, and we see like which one has more in it. You know, that's like a gauge or like a measure of like the health of the community, you know, how we're doing. Like, do we have more like things in the kindness box or in the concern box, you know, and like how is it going, like, and like as a measure. But, you know, just knowing that, like, you know, absolutely. And like, just imagine how amazing the world can be if we can all make one kind action, you know, and it can be something so simple, like so amazing, right? But I mean, that's like, I don't know, what I really love, you know, like when I was in San Francisco with Free Space, we used to give out free flowers on Friday. Yeah, and it's just a really small action, but it, you know, it made, like, I think it makes a difference. Like, I think even if you can just turn around someone's day, I mean, imagine the ripple that person is going to go home to their family or their friends, and then, you know, they can also have a great impact on someone. But, you know, the hard part about it is that sometimes, like you were saying, people can be skeptical, you know, like even if you're giving out something free in the street, like they think that there is some type of, you know, ulterior motive. Yeah, exactly. So how do we, you know, frame it in a way that's like, you know, people can connect, and, you know, it's also just a way of creating connection, right? Because we're like, especially now in this digital age, you know, like even how we're connecting now, like this feels better, but it's like, you know, connecting in person is the best, but like it's a start, you know, but like just, you know, connecting people and, finding ways to do that, to and I think that your mobile bus can really create that space, because it is a temporary autonomous zone. It can move and it can change and it can adapt. It can evolve. So it's like that's the best. It's a great platform for this.
Yeah. I can't help but think it, because I'm so immersed into it and so attached to the idea that it creates some kind of just something mischievous. A little bit of mischief can make people's day. You're talking about Free Flower Fridays in San Francisco. San Francisco's a hotbed. It's a perfect place to go for those kind of things. That's part of the reason why I cut 2 feet off the back of that RV and put a good emergency brake on it so we can go park in those streets. The season is kind of ending for the ideal technomad time. So these planning parties building up towards operations in the spring, getting back to Benjamin's question, like how many people does it take to start a movement? How many intentional people ready to sacrifice a certain amount of time, ready to communicate with all the other members of the group about the timing? And we know last minute things come up and traffic and craziness around LA, but being able to give your best guess to those in your group so they're prepared. Hey, 60% chance we could throw this party depending upon the weather and whether we do get that sound tech and whether that DJ actually shows up. Presto, flash mob. So stay ready for things that could happen if everything continues to line up, has been my mantra for a long time. But that's a lot to communicate to people. You really need a little bit of a warm-up, like sitting in on one of these streams for a little bit and having us type the whole thing together for some easy-to-digest series of background things required to make it happen. That list, that technical list. We'll do that on probably a specifically technical flavored stream sometimes. This is the Elisa flavored stream, and that really does widen the umbrella, you guys, to why we're doing it. And Benjamin, we would ask you, why would you want to start a movement? It's the culture hack. There's the culture that needs a kick in the ass periodically, a kick in the ass other than war, famine, or disease. So a kick in the ass while we have relative prosperity here, and then we could share that prosperity there. So that's why travel to those countries, like one thing I have to bring up from Elisa's adventures is teaching kids in Cambodia where they don't have schools, going into the villages with one of those little tuk-tuks and a bunch of books and renegade teaching. So renegade teaching compared to renegade flash mob parties around LA, somewhere in between there, I think might be the origins of some movements. And Benjamin says, I feel like festival culture or counterculture is a place for germinating societies' evolved desires. Si, senor. Absolutely. Festivals, though, they're kind of pricey. But I would also like to bring the costs down by not making them these big extravagance festivals. Flash mobs on Friday afternoons from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. and have that overflow. And then if everybody's feeling it, we take it to a friend's warehouse and have it go for, small donations, basically. Free flash mobs, small donations, and people could promote their art at these events. Just an open forum, a mobile open forum, ideally. So now to shift paradigms, it's a holiday in Cambodia. Chris, we know your punk rock roots apparently. And flashmobidole.com. Tommy, I don't know that one, but I'll have to look into that. I'm going to save these comments so I can look into these references. Thank you for that. And Elisa, being a school teacher, can you, I think you're providing the structure basically.
Yeah, I think
so back to you with the topics now. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to fix your camera, by the way, you guys. She's going to be off screen while I fix one of the wide angle cameras. But carry on. It's you.
Yeah, so I mean, I can also speak about, my teaching in Cambodia was, something that I went there as a tourist the first time, and I really just fell in love with the people and the story of their resiliency and their situation. And I thought to myself, like, whenever I see a problem and I am aware of a problem, I always try to think about, like, okay, what can I do to fix this problem? It's what I also always think, and so especially at that time in my life. But I was like, how can I contribute? What can I do to make something great? And just because I was a teacher, it was easy for me. You know, so I bought a one-way ticket to Cambodia with an intention of teaching. And actually, I worked in an expat movie theater with a Dutch nudist called Ramon for a while, and that was my landing.
What was that all about?
That was my landing spot in Phnom Penh when I first arrived, because like I needed a home, like a base, you know. And so Ramon was nice enough to let me to come and to stay for a moment. And then the situation got a bit tense, to say the least. So I had to leave I left Ramon's movie theater, but it was fun working there. Like, it was a great way to meet people, to network, to get involved in the community, you know, to learn about the life of an expat. And it was very, very interesting because the revolution was happening when I was there. It was like amazing, and actually it wasn't even covered in the Western news, so it was like so fascinating, you know.
What year was that?
None of my friends back home even heard about it. You know, it was like just a big surprise. But yeah, I was there, and you know, I was safe. It was fine. I didn't like go into the heart of the, you know, you know, just the conflict. But what I learned from that experience was basically, you know, they're struggling to make democracy in Cambodia when I was living there, and they had their first democratic election. It was so exciting. It was a historic moment. And their voting system is very rudimentary. They just color the index finger black to show that you voted. You know, so there's really no great tracking system to know how people voted or anything like that. So, you know, after the votes were tallied, it was clear that the new regime was voted in, the more democratic regime under the People's Party and Sam Gaysum. And actually the ruling party disagreed and said, even though they only had 30% support, they brought in all the tanks and the force from the countryside to suppress all the monks peacefully protesting in the capital. And, you know, they started tear gassing them and using guns and other things. Some people were killed. And there was no, like, they were not violently protesting even, you know, so it was really, you know, that's the thing is, like, in these times, like, we are losing our ability to protest in public spaces. You know, in Spain and other places, there are many examples of this happening around the world. And also, it's just really interesting, you know, that you know, who are choosing to help with democracy or not. But yeah, so you know, the current situation in Cambodia, they're still struggling to, you know, to make a democratic culture, to have that freedom. There's still a really huge divide between rich and poor. There is an elite ruling class. You know, China is coming inside and making a lot of casinos and highways and taking over, like, you know, Virgin Islands. And Cambodia will not be virgin for much longer. And, you know, the people really need to be able to protect themselves against this development, you know. And so for me, like, you know, teaching and giving language, and like, because there's a lot of tourists. They also have a lot of Australian tourists, you know, that are coming in, and also, you know, it's great. They help the economy, but also, like, you know, the native people need to be able to protect what's theirs in their land and know their rights, you know, and be able to have a dialogue, you know, with the populations that are coming in. So, you know, I felt like it was an amazing experience to go there. I was not successful. It was a huge failure, that project, but I learned a lot. You know, it was like I lasted only 3.5 months living in the tropical environment, and also in the third world, and also in a very rural area without access to many resources. So it was a great challenge. If I could go back, I would know many ways to improve. But I do know that just also throwing money at a problem does not work, you know, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, is that you really need a team of committed people that are like on the, you know, have the same vision, that really want to make something happen. It's really the only way to make change, you know. And so, you know, for example, I went out with a dentist into the neighborhoods, you know, we're giving out toothbrushes, toothpaste, like, because a lot of the kids there, they have, you know, teeth that are black and falling out because soda is less expensive than water. Oh my God, you know? Yeah. And they don't have access to water, and so all these companies, like, you know, that are making it that way. And so then it's like, so we're giving, you know, we're trying to help with that problem, and then they have to sell all of these supplies because they need other things more. You know, it's the same thing when we try to give out school supplies, backpacks, books, paper. You know, I was going into each home, like I did home visits, you know, for everyone in the village, and was like delivering things, you know, like Santa Claus, like giving them, you know, all these things. But it didn't solve the problem because they didn't need those things more than they needed other things, you know. So it's like, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know. You have to first all the basic needs before you can get to, yeah. So it's just the problem is really challenging, and if it were easy, then we would have solved it by now. But it really, these are like for me, it's just it's unbelievable that we still can't solve things like clean water, like getting food to everyone. Like these are the problems that I'm really
Cambodia, as a little example. I was there for 2.5 weeks in January, this past January. And go figure, it was a friend from years and years and years and years ago from my previous life in a rock band in Boston. And, back then, me and my friend had a lot in common. He moves to Cambodia to start a jet ski company on Koh Rong. A tranquil, beautiful little thing. I wanted to see my friend, but I was like, wow, he really did start a jet ski company. Holy, and that means and inevitable petrol. There might be some spillage, some pollution, and what the hell do the villagers think about this? And so it's been happening over the centuries. Just conquest and empire, and giving your gold to Caesar. So we're not going to be able to affect that kind of immediate change. No matter what your big Burning Man dreams are. Within half a generation. Necessarily, but we could hack a way to just have these temporal autonomous zones and see, send little forays into the mainstream and send little forays, plant some people in political positions and slowly take over. So read the TAS. I mean, people, I'm just regurgitating things that I've read from that and other sources, and that's all we're doing over these millennia anyway, right? Learning from the mistakes previously, and then the people that plot and scheme and want more riches than they could ever consume for themselves or to hand down to their precious descendants, family, carrying on the name empire. So temporal autonomous zone, I can't stress it enough times. Chris, sustainable living and conscious cooperation is how you have symbiotic real estate. Ben, he's telling Ben, we're schooling Ben. But yeah, up there in, you guys are up there in Victorville, near Apple Valley. You probably have more time for conscious cooperation than we do here in LA, or crossing that crazy traffic grid to get to the beach and breathe for a bit, and then all the way back today to do the broadcast in 100-degree heat. What's Sasquatchala, Chris? All right, Louie. We have another viewer, Louie. I suppose a friend of Chris. Please friend us, SolarSonic Streaming, and Elisa Leclerc, because Louie, we're gonna hack, we're gonna culture hack you, and we're gonna drive the RV cross town, and unawares, we're gonna kidnap somebody like Louie, or kidnap a DJ and have his entourage on board. My grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, the best gift I've ever heard of. My parents rented a bus and they filled it full of people, and then the last stop was picking up my grandparents. So there's like 40 partying people, surprise pick them up and then take them away to a chalet for the party. That was an influence to me. Like, get an RV, kidnap a DJ, command performance, entourage in the other RV, meet up, throw the flash mob. When the cops say it's grown too big, disperse and meet up at a warehouse waiting with open arms later. There's my formula. If we could have that happen by, say, I don't know, May 1st, you guys, May Day of the spring, I'd be a happy guy. That's why I'm invested into this conversation and the culture hacking wide umbrella. Louie is listening. Are you a DJ, Louie? Are you a DJ? You had a dream about this, Chris. I suppose you do. And I think Ben was having a wide awake dream that day. I'm never going to let him live that down. Tommy McCarthy, still hanging in, travel around, let musicians perform, have the audience vote on their favorite, and then record a song with the winner. Yes, now, but winner implies there's a competition. Was it just a lottery pulling it out of a hat, or is it American Idol? I don't want to get into this American Idol artificiality thing. If you got an answer for that, if you could write the script. Naseem is with us still. It says right on. Is that right on in regards to Chris's dream? Because I've been having that dream repeatedly, you guys. And then I wake up on a beach. And there's nothing better than waking up on a beach. Taking it out to the forest. Do you guys have safe parking up there in Victorville? Because I'll come bring one of the RVs up to Victorville if I could park off street and you've got really fast Wi-Fi, we'll invite your DJ friends there. Let's make that a temporal autonomous zone. Or do you have lame landlords? My landlord has been pretty open-minded. At the beginning, it was a little bit tense, and 2 RVs, and eventually they're going to refurbish this building to the point where I can't have 2 here anymore. And I would like to have one kind of live its own life and discover other temporal autonomous zones. And when they find the perfect one, say, okay, main mothership, come here. And then we meet and we have that event, and then we disperse and we go back. But that little RV is meant to have its own life. I don't need 2 RVs. I don't want to part with it forever and say goodbye to the little one, even after blowing the engine this June the 31st. My life changed a little bit. But getting responsible drivers, drug-free, good communications, and a crew that could back them up. Because with every RV, not only do you need a driver, you need a navigator, and you need your social networker, bare minimum. Then your cameraman, your sound engineer, and then your kitchen facilitator. There's a crew of 6 to keep one of those flash mobs going. Wearing all of those hats and struggling and trying to keep that thing going, I've worn myself out with the idea. But I do still believe, you guys, because I do keep having this recurring dream that Chris has had. Nassim says, I meant DJ music, get the people to be interested so we can open their eyes. Yeah, the festival culture opens many people's eyes, but festival culture is still a commerce at this point. If we could do a festival without an exchange of money, I would be happy to see that kind of movement start. In the spring, all eyes on the spring. And I concede the floor to Elisa again while I scroll through the comments here.
Yes, Greg, I agree. I think a conscious movement is really important, and also, like you said, like no barriers to entry so that everyone can participate. Yes. And it's really, really important, this piece, I think.
Well, we got DJ Louie. I have no idea whether he's a DJ. There's no barriers to entry. But Louie, I guarantee if you show up sometime at one of these little flash gatherings, and I credit my friend Core for that. It's not flash mob, Core Palank, flash gathering. Good idea. It's a flash mob without the mobbery. Louie, you show up, just plug in your freaking iPhone. If you want to hear that song off of solar-powered sound, you know, it just requires then the webcam is on you and we have to see your moves or your friends' moves. So spread it. It could go exponential to the level where we get shut down and there's legal problems. So we do have to, at some point, start collecting some kind of donations to be able to have that legal fund ready to bail us out when things like that might happen. And of course, the maintenance of RVs, periodic engine replacement. And by the way, Nassim, did that vehicle of yours actually, the check engine light came on, so you couldn't make it to Burning Man decom. Did it have severe engine problems? I'm getting a little fed up with engine problems myself, but okay. And Chris says, yes, we do. There are spots up there in Victorville, Apple Valley. Cool. Camp out at Deep Creek. Tommy, nothing scripted. The audience votes. That's a classic. You know, the audience voting, that is part of the American Idol thing. But we can hack that and make something fresh out of it. So culture hacking it is. Keep it going. There you go. Special topic. Elisa, you're teaching school tomorrow, so you know you gotta tell us when your cutoff time is. But Nassim had to get a new car. See, Benjamin, polls are the way to go. Competition, all right, yeah, competition, safe competition. But as Elisa was saying, no barriers to entry. At least entry you can get on board, but that next level, not a competition, but you know, displaying your skills. And following through flashgathering.com? Really? Tommy, you have flashgathering.com available? Your friends in high places or low places, Flash Gathering. That's pretty interesting. Cool. Yeah. Well, we've got SolarSonic.com. Back when Mark Trance and I had a little band, a 2-person band between the 2 RVs, we were Cyber Easy Rider. Cyber Easy Rider. .com is still sitting out there, but flashgathering.com, if that's available, that would be kind of fun. Grab it, man. Go ahead. Competition or cooperation, Benjamin?
Well, they both have their place, you know, but I think co-creation is the great word. Like, you know,
There you
it's
go. Again, fill in the perfect
co-creating.
blank. Yes, and that's been done pretty well. Some friends in Thailand put on this little event called Colors of Love, and they truck a whole lot of decoration there and spend a week setting things up, and over the course of a week have like 3 or 4 little micro events, co-creation. In Thailand, where, here you go, everybody, people have a lot of free time. There's the perfect place to co-create. You get away from your regular habitat. You can experiment. And in the tropics, where a bungalow might be, you know, $10, $20 a night, that's a great place to co-create. Kind of hard to carry the boom boxes and all the laptops and all that stuff, but we've tried, and I've got funny movies to post about those attempts. Yeah, you guys, cooperation, competition, and co-creation. So we could start setting some goals. If you guys, everybody who watched this stream wanted to vote and say, what about you guys do this, with or without involving the RVs, you know? But the RVs are something that give us the mobility and the solar electricity, which you guys can all plug into. You find a place where we can camp out. I could throw you extension cords. You can work independently in your tent. You come up with a great idea. Competition says, come up, present the idea. Everybody says, yeah, let's work on his thing today. Or let's merge that with her idea that she was working on for the past few days over in her tent. And then, you know, the ability for artists to come together, but also to be able to disconnect and reform those ideas without too much. Because, you know, we have a limit to what we can juggle at the same time before it just becomes cacophony, noise, and we have to run away regretfully. So ebb and flow and camp out without that Burning Man competition and all that dust flying all over the place and that entry fee. Find cheap campgrounds where we can bring both RVs and a couple other people with their little mobile domiciles and set up some tents. And yeah, let's mix an album out there and let's stream from out there. And let's kidnap Louie DJ. And Tommy says seems simple and brandable to me. Brandable. Culture hack. Elisa Leclerc, what do you say about branding versus culture hacking? Where do you draw the line?
I'm no expert on branding. In fact, like the whole like marketing in general, like I love making art, but this piece I think as along with many other artists, they don't do well in this part, you know. So like if there is anyone out there that wants to take that piece or has some advice, I would be very happy to learn, because for me, this part is very challenging. Like I have trouble following through. Like I like making things, and then I just start all of these. Like I'm kind of I ignite fires, and then I just like have all these fires burning everywhere, and like I don't ever like that's all. Yes. So I can't speak to that, but I'm glad there are. You know, that's why we're a community. People have many talents, and I love all of your creativity that you've been sharing. So thank you.
Yes, I'm really liking this. Alfred Canchola is in. He says, I'm in. He says, whatever it is, I'm in. I like that a lot. That's a good attitude to have.
Yes,
Pull
it's very...
together, play together. We can teach you, Elisa. Chris is offering to teach you. So, hey, conveniently, Elisa is located in Las Vegas. Chris, you and crew are in Victorville, close to Apple Valley, Deep Creek, and all that. The RVs in Los Angeles, we could converge sometime. You guys find a place. She could drive down an hour and a half, 2 hours to where you guys are. I can bring the RVs 2 hours up the hill, and we could do some things. Just we need location scouts. Benjamin says, I see 40 people on the next one. I would say, yeah, I see 40 people on the next broadcast that we're doing. But again, Jim Morrison, I love the friends we have gathered here together on this thin raft. We have constructed pyramids in honor of our escaping. This is the land where the pharaoh died, or where the pharaoh may die. And on cue, Mark Trans co-create creative habits, and I would say Mark and habitats. So you guys up there in the desert, it might be a little shivery in those later months, but we'll watch the 10-day forecast, and when it's going to be like, you know, 70 degrees on a weekend, maybe we'll just flash gather around your places. Be prepared to hunker down and co-create for a bit. There we go. Yeah. I'm liking it. And you guys got other partners in LA and Long Beach. Good. If they've got some off the grid camping areas that we could activate, I'm in. Alfred, tell us what your strengths are and what your observations are when you say I'm in. I'd love to know, when you hit the ground, will you hit the ground running, and what would you love to do? I'm waiting for your reply, Alfred, and thanks for joining.
Greg, you're doing a great job mediating this conversation. Thank you.
Man, it would be very one-sided, tech-related, and boring if it was not for you, Lisa. And the Jim Morrison quote, that kept me going when things were falling apart earlier today. I was like, no, in honor of our escaping, and this is the land where the Pharaoh died. Google, we're coming for you. I don't know. Maybe not in our lifetime, but we can try. Benjamin, you're in the valley now? Okay. I thought that you were also up there in Apple Valley or up there with Chris and company. Okay, that's cool. If you're mobile and you're up in the valley, that means you could show up a lot more. Help us wash the RV before the flash gathering. Yeah, you earned that from the last meeting, man. Excellent. I'm so glad you're a part of this. And that Mark is here staying up, co-create habits. The wonders of Mark Trance is awaiting our audience. We tested out the Skype. You get this guy talking. He's got so many observations spanning so many years and so many tracks spanning so many years. He could throw down his own stage, going from his own brand of dubstep to his own brand of slowed down psytrance to complete chill out competition with Barry White. Sometimes I've seen Mark Trance do. So it depends how we catch him. But next Wednesday, I think we might try to get Mark on the line. And also sometimes we could share, different people could Skype in and we could one at a time share that seat. And when Wirecast software gets the next update, rumor has it, like a Google Hangout, we could have like 9 screens. I like Wirecast because we can bring in other sources and other previous recorded materials, VJ materials, DJ, high quality, and titling. So I'm kind of into Wirecast right now. I'm invested in it and still learning other aspects of its new version. But stay tuned for a more, right now it's me and Elisa, but it'd be great to have Google Hangouts plus all of this stuff. And that's the next version of Wirecast. That's the techie aside, you guys. I just periodically have to ventilate that so conditionally this could happen. If somebody came here and started studying Wirecast with me, I would loan you a high-powered laptop in that position so you could study up, be good at it. You're like permanent loan while you're learning it. But just, the thing is, come back and help us stream that show. Free me up from time to time. Somebody else to responsibly drive the RV. That's what's needed there. What's needed in the rest of the world and traveling when we get our time together to go to other countries, Elisa, as a specialist in that category, I would say making little movies of these adventures and showing that to people in other countries to know that America is not all just Coca-Cola corporations and the me generation and the selfie sticks, that we are trying to reach out would be the ideal.
Yes, it's also it's why I love to travel, also just to make my own impressions of the world, because the world actually is a very safe place in my experience. I've gone to a lot of places that people told me not to go, and from my experience, I think people generally are very good in the world, and in my experience, people in power tend to be corrupt. So that's an overgeneralization, but I mean, it's also, that's just been my experience. Mm-hmm. And I also, it would be amazing for me, to make movies that showcase this idea, is that the world is a good place, because we hear so many messages from the media saying other things. It'd be great to change the narrative, let's tell good stories, let's change the narrative. I think the world needs this.
Yeah, and some of you, if you were there at the beginning of this broadcast where we started with that thing from the Adam Freeland, We Want Your Soul video, and it starts with something so beautiful. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. And then I'd like to buy the world a Coke. And there's branding for you. It starts with a beautiful song. Suddenly Coca-Cola was all about that kumbaya 60s feeling. So then hats off to Adam Freeland to hack that. That really kicked me in the ass a couple of days ago when Phil from Belgium said, hey, and he dropped that video. It was just as simple as like dropping that video. And that revitalized me. And then at that point I said, okay, we're doing this event. And we officially went for it, even though we really weren't completely ready. I can thank Phil, got to thank Elisa, I got to thank Chris Benjamin, the whole crew, and maybe even having the blown engine. Maybe we wouldn't have started this way. I would still be out there trying to communicate. Let's do flash mobs, flash gatherings. I think we need to organize before we can really do that without getting arrested. But other projects is what I want to hear. I wanted to widen that umbrella. Yes, Naj bailed me out. Alfred Canchola, otherwise known as Naj. I did a GoFundMe on that day when I panicked when I found out the engine was going to be over $6,000. We put up a GoFundMe. I only really did it for a few days, but Naj came to my rescue right away and dropped a little bit. All those things keep me going because I've been at wit's end with these machines for way too long. And Mark Trance knows that. He's one of my commiserators. He's lived in one of the RVs for a while. He knows the ups and downs. And I'm looking to escape. I hope I don't necessarily have to go to Asia always to escape to get out of the RVs. I could tough it out for a winter in LA maybe, but I'm saving rent by not having a conventional apartment. It makes it easier to travel and get the hell out and just start again fresh in the spring. But with some momentum like this happening, you guys, I really look forward. I'll go where the energy is, and I'll loan out the RVs where the energy is, and we could grow it. I don't want corporate sponsorship, and I don't want scripts. If we could stay free from that and have some structure, which Elisa brings to the table, and then structure within the artistry, it's a tough one, but we could get there. I mean, you agree, Elisa?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and I think I would love to hear from our branding expert. You know, like for me, I'm very interested in like how do we make like kind actions, like, you know, this type of thing, like, you know, sexy, like attractive, you know, and so like that would be really just the idea is also like, you know, how I asked myself that question, you know, and so I'd love to also to hear from the experts in this area.
Well, apparently the little RV is a lot sexier than the big RV. You know, that one's a little bit imposing, so I totally agree. But that one doesn't have the studio. So we need the mobility, and how do you make that sexy when you're promoting it? So you need video editors. And, you know, I know Final Cut Pro, but it's, you know, it takes the extra time. I'm more personally about the immediacy. And if somebody else wants to be on board and they could dress things up, I would just say set some kind of a restriction on what you actually edit, you know, an airbrush and Instagram. You're only getting that one almost artificial or completely artificial image, and that's not really what you are. There's got to be a balance between the two. And to be objective is completely impossible for me living inside this studio. So I do look forward to some episodes just sitting back completely and just observing and watch you guys go. So, yeah. And I'm seeing that Benjamin has been sharing this to many friends already. I thank you for that. Artistry structure is our forte. You guys are into branding. You came ready with a business plan, I know. And we had our non-disclosure agreements. I've got a full disclosure agreement with all y'all. I say hack it to the point of just wide open and try to get rid of copyright if you can. You know, fair use. Exactly.
I agree. I think that the more people we can share with it, I think the better. I believe in abundance in the universe, and so I think it's really like, I think sharing is always good. I think it's I agree with this open sharing model and open source.
Open source branding. I think it's possible, Tommy. We got to meet in person. It's been a long time. Thankfully, Facebook keeps us somewhat connected. And Naj, I haven't seen you in a long time. If anybody out of all of you is going to Terra Chroma 10-year anniversary, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even actually into Monday, we'd love to powwow with you guys there. So that's a start. And then after getting back, there's no plans necessarily for the next weekend. I'm a little bit partial periodically to warehouse techno, droid behavior, prototype. I'd like to do one of those curbside outside clubs scenarios, which I used to do in San Francisco more than LA, really back in the day. Park the RV curbside outside clubs and take turns going in to the event, enjoying the event, and take turns coming back out to the RV, chill, hold down the space, make sure everything's safe, be connected. Curbside outside clubs, we could bring other people in because they see the mobility right there. They see their own vision of what they do with an RV, and that's the best way to connect with people. And they seem as loving the idea shared economy is the future. Yeah, we're you know, taxi companies are being upstaged by Uber. Television stations are being upstaged by this kind of format, ideally, and we'll see what happens with the internet access with what they're trying to do with certain legislations. So, yeah, we leave competition, open source.
I was just going to say, like, you know, especially with being a traveler, which many of you are also nomadic, you know, it's really, for me, it would be amazing to live in a world where you can just always have what you need, right? We don't have to transport goods and things around. It doesn't make sense, you know? So, you know, how can we restructure? How can we reorganize? I mean, there are so many amazing projects to work on, and it's amazing what we can create.
Well, the 60s influence, you know, had so much to do. I mean, I got lots of stories to tell you guys personally, but some relate more than others. Here we go. Here's a flyer. We all remember 9/11. So, little known fact, but 9/11, 11/9, November 9th is the day that Ken Casey passed away. Ken Casey, Merry Pranksters, the bus that said further. When 9/11 happened, I just saw immediately parties were canceled. People were unsure of what's going to happen, and I was like, oh no, that's the opposite intended effect. Let's throw a party for pure ventilation's sake. So we did a party after 9/11 called 11/9. Let me see if I can get this on the camera. 11/9. It was on November the 9th, and there it was. It was no better time to fly, no better time to gather. 11/9. Turning the tables on terror. So there were no booked DJs. There was no script to the party at all. It was just show up, be ready to be creative, and some people could say, you know, it wasn't exactly palatable all the time, but it was so freaking creative, and it was such an outpouring, and that was the last official event. There's one in between there, but that was an event, and it was in the desert, and it was a space where we could get away with it. And it's funny how helicopters would start descending upon desert parties. About 2003 is when it started to get really kind of ugly, and Moon Tribe had to start using private property most of the time to not get busted. But, you know, we could fight back, bounce back from that. But the 60s, Ken Casey, Further, the electric Kool-Aid acid test, inspiration, you know, taken from Jack Kerouac, and Neil Cassidy ended up driving that bus. It was just like one masterful work of art on the road, and then electric Kool-Aid acid test, and the two connected, the two generations, the beat generation connected to the hippie generation, and the man died on 11/9. I got that news as we were at that party, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, there is no freaking turning back from this mobility thing. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm in it for life, you know, and it's, you own an RV, and periodically the thing's stuck in a driveway, and you regroup, and let's see what we can do. I want to help other people. I want to see Elisa get that van, and I want to see her get on down South America, ideally, and not have to exchange currencies. That's an interesting, perfect tech nomadic goal, and to do it colorfully is the key. So that's what you're bringing to this broadcast. So I thank you again for making it happen. There's a lot of comments in here too. I thank you guys. A catalyst of Gold Star. What's that, Tommy? A catalyst of Gold Star. You guys field us some more, send us some more questions here, because we're going round and round. I just bridged it back to the 60s because that seemed to be one thing we've got in common as a reference point. where a movement was starting. How do you follow that through now in the internet age without too much branding? Yes, Mark, thank you for posting this. Saint Pepsi, Coca-Cola, I'd like to teach the world to sing. Let's pin that comment. Let's learn this Facebook as we go along. Good. Naj, are you still here? And if you are, in the comments, tell me where you are. Where can we see you next and reconvene? Uh-oh, both you and I are speechless at this moment.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah,
it's a long day. You know, I published 120 books with my students today, and that was a lot of work. We made our own paper, and then we created we had a publishing factory in our classroom today. So it was took a lot of energy.
Right. Yeah, and we were just going to stream for an hour or see what would happen. Since we had at least a half hour of elapsed time of technical snafus, we had to extend it a bit. But yeah, big day tomorrow, packing and everything as well.
And booking plane tickets. I have many things to do still.
All right, so you are excusing yourself. You guys, I'll carry on for a little bit here. And
yeah, please carry on without me even.
Okay. Carry on. Just because we do have 10 people here, and it's gonna be just me talking for a little bit. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go till like 11:20 or so. So if you got questions, hit them up right now. How about just one quick parting question for Elisa, maybe? Somebody out there? Otherwise, I'll pose one. Okay, out of all these ideas, and over the course of the next month, what would you say a next best step would be, other than next Wednesday doing this and maybe having Mark Trance? Maybe we could pick his brain, and maybe you could weigh in on Skype for a little bit, and maybe we could actually have a competition, and Benjamin could come on for a little while, and we could vote whether he stays on. We could vote who gets the Skype seat for a little while. Actually, you guys, we could do that right now. If one of you guys wants to Skype, we could put you in a license. Yeah, but there we go. We had to think this through. As soon as somebody else Skypes me, yeah. Okay.
Good idea.
The Skype name, if you want to go on in Elisa's seat, Skype SolarSonic Streaming, and send me a contact request, and then call SolarSonic Streaming. Give me a moment, and you are on camera, and we're speaking. So, Mark,
and then I will maybe have to watch because it seems amazing.
Benjamin, Chris, yeah. While you're packing,
maybe I can't leave.
While you're packing and booking, you could still be there.
Yeah.
Ali Galaxy, I feel complete having you tune in. There's no way we're stopping this stream right now. If you get re-inspired, Elisa, you could always call back, but before midnight. So, is anybody gonna call in? Skype, please Skype to SolarSonic Streaming. First, send me the friend request or the Skype Connect request, and then boom, I'm gonna put you in Elisa's seat and the hot seat. We're gonna grill you. We're gonna listen to your ideas. Otherwise, you guys listen to me, the run-on sentence. I've been doing this for far too long, and I'm getting a little tired myself. But Tommy's lighting is terrible. I've heard that before. Ali Galaxy, you could weigh in. Please Skype to me, SolarSonic Streaming, all run together, and let's catch up on camera if you dare, or Mark if you're up to it. But Elisa, we wanna thank you. Mark Trance is calling in. Elisa.
Okay.
Mañana.
Ciao, everyone.
Ciao, everyone. Thanks for having her here. Mark's calling. See you in the comments. Here we go. Mark Trance is calling in. Elisa.
Okay.
Mañana.
Ciao, everyone.
Ciao, everyone. All right, we got Mark Trance, you guys. Hold on 1 second because I have to fix the Wirecast screen. It's gonna take 1 second. We're going to get Mark on camera. I just have to go over here and click on this. And then click on that. And then on Skype. And then current call. And Mark Trance! Larger than life, Mark Trance!
Okay,
now we can have a conversation.
Oh, shit.
Turn down your whatever that other audio is.
Which one?
Okay, now you're good. You got to turn down the laptop because it's got the delay.
Okay.
Yeah, a little instruction for you guys. If you call in, it's best to be Skype from your device and then watch the show on your laptop with the volume turned down. So to guest star on this, you got to Skype ideally from your device and then watch the show on your laptop with the volume turned down. Yes, thanks, Elisa. And nice goatee, Mark, says Edson Vizcarra.
Thank you.
Good night, Elisa and all. Thank you, Bob, for watching. Thank you for weighing in with your comments. Edson, Nasim, who's still here? We still got 12 people. All right, Mark, I concede the floor to you.
Uh-oh. Are you hearing me?
I'm listening to you now. It's the Mark Trance show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there volume coming through?
Yeah, you're on. People hear you.
Oh, I can't hear shit.
Well, then your Skype is the problem. Can you hear me? No?
Yo, I can hear you. I just can't hear the delay. I like delay.
Well, all right, commentary while I fix your other camera.
My other camera?
Yeah, you got, my other camera and you. There we go. Now you're a decent size up in the corner, and I'm over here saying, what's on your mind, Mark Trance? Counterculture and stuff.
That's weird. It's like delayed, no?
No, but this is SolarSonic After Hours now. Let's make plans for next week's show. I want to interview Naj. I haven't seen Naj in a long time. First time I ever heard about the Kumbh Mela was from Naj. I think he was over there in India after going to I Am Coconut the last time you were in Thailand, Mark.
Absolutely.
Maybe you know Naj. You probably know Naj. You guys probably were in Thailand at the same time.
Yeah, we're old buddies.
Yeah, what comes around goes around.
And around and around and around.
I know you're getting your sea legs right now, but
I am.
I really this is your platform, you guys. Ask Mark anything.
Cool. Okay, there's a good delay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's very weird to look at yourself in delay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Kumbh Mela was 2001. That's how far we go back.
Oh, shit.
Go with the delay. Just, work with it. Delay, no delay. We hear you fine.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm very confused.
Alfred,
but then that's because I'm a stoner.
Alfred, Kumbh Mela, talking about a movement. If you were in on the conversation earlier when we were talking about a movement, I mean, movement of Jat people. How many times bigger than Burning Man is Kumbh Mela? How many? Isn't it like something like 1 million people are mobile over the course of a month or something and are living at the side of a river? I mean, the details of that gathering, it seems so impossible that something like that could actually exist. But there's a movement. So there's the largest extravagance of a real movement that's so ingrained in the culture of that country. And in America, we're so freaking multicultural. Good luck trying to get something like that happening. Not to mention the ecological disasters that must be happening along those river banks. Kumbh Mela, Burning Man, and some humble flash gathering that we might try in the spring. Mark, Cyber Easy Rider, tracks,
yes,
places to throw down, deserts. What's your preference?
Comfort.
Well, okay, comfort, that's why you pretty much need your own RV to go out and do a gig, so you could have your comforts there and then periodically throw down your set and then retire back to your quarters. Kind of like the Mayans had the different temples, and the priests used to go through hidden little tunnels and then magically appear on the other side, and the whole citizenry was just amazed, and that's why they gave the extra powers to those Mayan priests back then. So now you've got the internet, you've got Mark Trance. He just wants to have a comfortable place. He doesn't want to have the pressure of always performing. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm too old.
Right.
So integral.
Integral gathering, exactly. Secret desert location, 2 or 3 days, albeit it's going to be in November, so it's going to be a little crispy mountain air probably. You know, the RV's got propane heat, but might be a tough one to start a movement. But it could be a place to have a good powwow and to keep making more plans for the spring. I'm partial to the spring, summer, and fall myself. You know, we're losing daylight savings time in like, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks or something. And there goes daylight savings time. And there goes the real technomatic season. So what can you do? What can you do about that?
Gas heating lamps.
Yeah, gas heating lamps out to the desert. And try to make these gatherings, you know, people can get there and then get their bearings before the first DJ plays. If I have one complaint about some of our favorite desert gatherings lately is like the directions are released just in time for you to be able to get there pretty much maybe of an hour or 2 or 3 before the first DJ set. But most people are arriving as the first DJ is playing and it's dark. So you can't set up your camp. So I know you got to keep the locations secret and private, and it makes it fun. It's a map point. It's an adventure. But if you could time it so people can escape the traffic, get there, set up a tent, get their bearings, then we're going to be able to co-create within a day, 2 or 3 days. But showing up last minute, and some people are ready to party, and some people are recovering from that drive. It's hard to find that maybe 1/3 of the audience that's ready to create or co-create. Did your gear arrive with you intact? Are things like that actually going to happen? How's the weather? Is the party getting busted? Feedback? Cables not working? It requires some concentration, but we can organize it. And having somebody like Mark telling us stories of what worked and what didn't work, and somebody like Elisa with a little bit of structure. I mean, if you're teaching 10-year-olds, you could probably teach some ravers how to get a little bit organized too. So bravo for that, for a nice jump into this little culture hack stream. Mark, so the pressure's on you to throw down and deliver sometime soon.
I'm trying to come up with something. I got a cat.
You got a cat? Oh, a cat on camera. Okay, it's the cat cam.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you can't. It's not really the internet without a cat.
Could you play one of your tracks while while we're talking?
I sent you one.
Huh?
I sent you one.
You sent me a cat?
I sent you a track. Here, I will.
Oh, you did send. Yeah, play it through your speakers. Andreas! We have Andreas weighing in from Germany. Fantastic. Oh, you know what? The speakers are too far away. Okay, Mark, this is the Mark Trance Show.
Uh-oh. It's what?
This is the Mark Trance Show. What track is this that you got that you're just throwing
down? Oh,
it's
just Pepsi crap.
Okay, that's what everybody's asking. They're asking, what is this Pepsi thing all about? Explain that, Mark. There you go.
Well, that's actually an old commercial that's been chopped into pieces.
Okay, just like the Adam Freeland, I'd like to teach the world to sing. I'd like to buy the world a Coke. Okay, good. There's a culture hack. Good morning, Andreas. All right, yes, top of the morning to you over there in Germany. We're finally doing it. Andreas has given me a good pat on the back. Andreas is a fellow GMC motorhome owner in Germany, where it's predominantly diesel over there, but he's got a GMC motorhome, and we have those forums in common, keeping our RVs on the road. Edson are you a friend of Elisa or Mark or me, or how did you find our stream, Edson? I want to send out a friend invite to you. Where are you located, and how did you find us, Mr. Lover of Mashups? The most active person in the comments at the moment. And Mark Trance, having turned this into the Mark Trance Show.
I'm going to try and hook up the video through the thing here, so hang with me a second.
The video, you have the video for that Pepsi thing?
Yeah, well, I'm going to send the audio through instead of my voice for a second.
Okay, let me see what happens if I press this button. Hey, let's see what happens if I press this button. Okay, we're back with Mark Trance. Breaking loose. There you go. I got the credits for you now, man. Okay, Mark Trance, special credit, live track. It's the Mark Trance Show.
Shit. Stop, goddammit. Now how do you
what are you doing? It sounds like red wine. Red wine, clear every time. Tommy McCarthy, we will connect later. We're going to start. Jonathan Satari! Yes! I can't stop. The show is not going to stop because Jonathan is in the house. Tommy's leaving. Jonathan is arriving. Fantastic. Losing me, brother. Tommy, that's okay. We were on for a good long time.
Yes! I can't stop.
Yeah!
Jonathan's in the house.
Okay, Jonathan is from Carson, California. Mark, you got to turn down the volume or use headphones on your laptop.
I just played for a second.
Yeah, headphones on your laptop, and then we're okay. Yeah, there is a delay going on. Oh, thank you. Thank you, you guys. I got rid of the delay now. Sorry about that. Freaking crazy. This program is really insane. Wirecast, you can do a lot like Wizard of Oz. You could be controlling the whole thing, but there's so much shit to keep up here. Kind of hard to hold the conversation, and you see what the end result is. But this is good practice, you guys. Once again, it's good to have friends as the supportive crowd. We got rid of that. So, Jonathan, on the topic of culture hacking, Jonathan is one of my favorite repetitive Thai friends, almost on the edge, Thai, almost expat from Ireland, and with some opinions of his own about culture hacking. I'm so happy that Jonathan gets to see Mark Trance, who has spent a bit of time in Thailand as well. Jonathan is getting on a plane for Thailand in the next, 24 hours, Jonathan? Like, you are just about out of here, right? Hit us back up. We're waiting for your comments. Beyond Alex Jones. Okay. Alex Jones, I have proof right here. I got proof. Now, Trump is trying to be unseated by this thing, and Crooked Hillary, and Alex Jones, and conspiracy theories. God dang. Look where we've gone. Look where we are right now. Mark has a lot of I've heard Mark go off on rants with the same intensity of Alex Jones from time to time. We just need to warm him up. So this is a practice where we're checking things out. But what say you to that, Mark, in terms of being warmed up? You need to be comfortable.
Yeah. I just can't look at myself.
Well, you're just streaming from your own living room. You know, next time we'll have the green screen. If you get the green screen Mark Trans show and that hat I've seen you wear from time to time. Okay, Edson is asking, what is culture hacking? I am new to this term. I wish that Elisa was here at this moment to pick up and get us back on track in terms of culture hacking. It's experimentation with alternative lifestyles, probably. It's experimentation with alternative commerce, ideally. It's experimentation in terms of the technologies that allow us to hack. And the most obvious target in America for hacking, I would say, would have to be the corporation. So if we could hack corporations in different ways other than breaking into their systems and taking things down illegally, I don't know. When Coca-Cola says, I'd like to teach the world to sing, I'd like to buy the world a Coke, and we let that happen back in the 70s, did anybody see that Pepsi commercial with the Kardashian daughter? What was her name? Kardashian? And that Pepsi commercial that was all about the protest movement and was an epic, embarrassing fail, and they brought it down? There's a perfect example of something that needed to be hacked, and it was just automatically hacked. The company saw it itself. I think it was Pepsi, and they just took it down on their own. There was like, whoops, don't get a Kardashian mixed in with a so-called protest movement. The two of them don't work well together so well. So hacking, in answer to your question, yeah, look it up. Google culture hacking. And Edson, for me, it's about doing pop-up parties with solar-powered sound system RVs. That's my kind of culture hack around Los Angeles, and Burning Man-inspired gifting economy, ideally. And then being able to subsist from it by having some kind of branding and some kind of some other people that got our back, and without having to be our own corporation, without having to be all about the consumption of our product, but just pay for itself, nonprofit. People in the crew positions could be paid by being in a nonprofit at the same time. So experimentation is a large part of it, and a movement that, yeah, boom, that sounds dope. Edson, I'm glad that you're on board. So let's connect and let's do something next Wednesday. Let's get Elisa back on board for the structure. Let's get Chris or Benjamin or his crew next time, because they're coming in from the young side of things, and they've got some new ideas and some new ways of putting these things together. Mark has got the time-tested experimentation. And yeah, Edson's solar panel RV, I'm inside a 26-foot RV in a driveway in Los Angeles right now, having driven the little cut-down 21-foot RV back from Malibu, and to get ready for this kickoff culture hacking evening with all you all. So, yeah, corporate media, it's a problem. Here we are streaming on Facebook Live. Mark, what do you guys say about that?
Bravo.
Yeah, Facebook Live, we just use it for what it is, right? You know, use it for what we need to get out of it, and put in your, I don't know, more than bravo. What about the bravado? Wait, here's a magic trick, you guys. Watch Mark get smaller. Whoa, there we go. Now we're gonna.
Oh, that's cool.
Now we're gonna move Mark around here. Let's see. Put him down over here a little bit. All right. Now let's move over there. Now let's see what happens when we press this button again. Uh-oh, look at. I put that up there for Edson so he could just get a shot of the RV and see that there's, you know, mixing capabilities, take it on the road, and you know, just so we can bring a little bit of a slideshow in, I suppose. We got Mark over there holding it down. You guys, you got to throw some questions to Mark. You know, he's here. That track, Edson, thank you for asking. That track is by this guy named Bad and Rad, and here is his logo. That music track was by him, and part of the video was by him. And guess where I met Mr. Jake Bad and Rad? Instagram. Instagram. Once you guys end up liking each other's things a couple times, and then inevitably a message comes out. It's like, is that your original track? Holy shit! Look it up. His track is called let's see, Deep End. Look up Bad and Rad Deep End, and I hacked his track and remixed it for that video for a little bit of an intro, just to get people on the page and stuff. So shout out to Jake Bad and Rad. And Instagram's not half bad. Hey Mark, when I click to one of those videos,
yeah,
you are still live with your audio, so it might feed back. So when that happens, if I go to one of those pre-recorded things, turn your volume down and don't talk during it unless you got, you know, because you're coming through at that moment. Then
Did it feed back?
No, it didn't feed back. It's just at one point earlier we had your music and that music happening at the same time. But we're learning. We're learning as we go. We'll get it figured out. So yeah, that was Jake Bad and Rad. Now, Mark, next week we could have some of your tracks ready. You could email them to me. I've got a couple of them already, and we could play some of that. Especially if you got a track that has a little bit of video with it. That'd be easy to do sometime. So,
sure.
Who else is left here? We got Jonathan. Are you still here? Because, like, you just made your presence known, and I appreciate that. But Jonathan is, you know, he's got culture hacking mindset down cold, and he knows how to step outside society and just make it work for him at the moment. And Thailand's no better place to do it. And he manages to stay there a lot longer than I have a chance to stay. So hats off to you, Jonathan, that you're even online right now at the moment, getting ready, packing, and off to Thailand in a matter of a few days. We could have you Skype in from there, ideally. Get you Skyping with your mobile device as you make your way across the streets. That would be next to surreal. That's next level stuff. That's next level stuff. I'm gonna do another one of those. Look what happens when I touch this button, Mark. If you don't fill in the blank.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you, Edson. 15 years or so, or at least mashups. Yeah, long fucking time.
Yeah, mashups are definitely a culture hacking specialty of Mark Trance. Yeah, at all different levels.
Yeah, I'm a audio thief. What is it? Grand Theft Audio?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, cut and run, basically. Cut and run. Jonathan, yes. Okay, he does have to get to the plane. You guys, let's wish Jonathan a bon voyage. He's leaving on a culture hacking adventure. He's the first of my brethren to be to Thailand this season. Jonathan's not afraid of the rainy season. He's one up on me. But when my pillow in a Thai bungalow starts growing green mold, it's tough. How you do it in November, Jonathan, I want to learn from you. Yep. And Mark, okay, so Edson has been producing since 2001. Cool.
Nice.
Remind us again, Edson, where are you located? Por favor. We're looking for your, the comments are sometimes a little bit slow motion. All right. Elisa is still awake and alive over there. Culture hacking is an intentional action to affect positive cultural change. Thank you for the dictionary definition. And Edson is in Carson, California. Cool. Okay, Jonathan, yeah, if you could do a report from Pak Klong Talat Flower Market, that would be very colorful. Could you do it in exactly a week minus 2 hours or so? this next Wednesday, what would be 9:30 Pacific time if it would be light out there and you're walking through with your device through a flower market and making your commentary? Fantastic. I'd be honored. I would be honored. Do you guys know, how can I scroll up to pin some of these comments? Like, okay, I can pin Elisa's comment, so that's up top. I'm going to pin Jonathan's comment, learning as we go along here. By any chance is Benjamin or Chris still on board? Because I'm wondering, Edson, who do you know? How did you find this? That was my question for you. Oh, what is my name, host? Sorry. Okay, I am Greg. SolarSonic has been my project forever, and I've been trying to launch it in a culture hacking kind of way, and it kind of took the definition and a little bit of structure crash course from Elisa to be able to do it. I have to credit her again, and some people that I met at Moon Tribe a week before that, and the chaos of Burning Man decompression. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have started from this little thing. But yeah, I am Eclectro Greg, EKG. Sometimes I am a former vocalist. I am an electronic drummer. I've collaborated with Mark over the years, and we've been on the sidelines for a little while. So we're looking forward to doing some things, co-creating in those more comfortable spaces, so Mark could kick back with his own Maharaja tent, and we can have an RV solar powered. We can have the RV studio. The other one is kind of like the green room. People can show up impromptu and they could practice, and then we could put you on the air. But it really legitimately takes a crew of like 6 people. Right now I'm the only crew, and I'm using Wirecast software, which is really crazy and prone to many, many exciting bugs and feedback loops. And thanks you guys for hanging out during the feedback loops. So I'm going to give you a little bit of, let's see, here up in the corner. Oh, Mark is gone. There's some shots of the RV.
I ain't gone.
Be here now. You're still here, but we're slideshowing over your ass. There's my friend Steve.
Good.
There's Steve, another inspiration. They showed up in Malibu with guitar, bass, vocals. I played electronic drums. There's a drive back from San Francisco, Big Sur. There's me praying that the RV's not going to crash and burn. And there's the RV in Mexico, circa 2002. There's 2003. We've been doing it for a while. So Edson, if you've been creating tracks for a while, it's cool that we're hooking up now. Yeah, SolarSonic, cyberdelic, I like to say sometimes, especially with the influences of Mark Trance and friends. Southern California was a rebirth for me. So, how much are those style RVs, Edson? Well, you could buy a piece of shit for as little as $3,000, and I guarantee you'll have to spend another $3,000 almost immediately, another $3,000 over the course of the next 3 to 6 to 12 months. And if you bought something that was well kept, well taken care of, for maybe like $9,000 to $15,000. You'll have something that's reliable, you can live out of, you can put a studio inside, spend a couple few grand and make it sustainable with some solar. Yeah, it's I could go into that. I can go into detail in some other complete show sometime. We're trying to get a little bit of structure for like what the next topics will be, who the next special guests are. But after you guys showing up and supporting, it's on. It's on. So I think Wednesday, maybe we'll try to start a little earlier or something. And doing it mobile is an extra acrobatic act, trying to go with the mobile hotspot. Verizon has been disappointing me greatly recently. I got a Sprint unlimited data plan. If a friend jumped on board with an AT&T unlimited data plan, T-Mobile, or some of those other cheap knockoff carriers, you know, there would be more stops and starts as we lose the stream sometimes when we do it mobile. I've been trying to stream mobile for a while and finally decided, let's do this stream from the driveway. Some humble beginnings, some structure and inspirations from Elisa Leclerc at the earlier start of the show, and Mark bringing the house down. Are you trying to warm up another track?
I'm just playing something in the background. Does it play through?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of far away. We're going to have to plug your track in. We'll figure that out.
Oh, well, I've got it way turned down. Here, let me turn it up. I just don't want to be intrusive.
Well, you could be intrusive. If you're too intrusive, we're going to go boom and put that slideshow over you for some.
Yeah, I mean, if you can if you can control the volume from there.
Well, you know, flash mob, culture hack. If you're a train wreck, you're not trying.
Testing.
The whole damn thing is one testing. So I'm just clicking buttons, you guys, and hoping what will work. Cyberdelic is taking the technology and then just not having any preconception of where you're going, and then just letting the trip take its own form over the miles, over the bumps in the road, and then sit still and enjoy it and create something. Okay, Mark, that's a little up-tempo for you.
Is that too loud?
Well, it's just kind of far away. It's a little bit far away.
Huh.
What's that thing called? Edson says good volume.
Oh.
Cool, Edson. So when I speak over it, I think it ends up canceling out Mark's track. But with the music on, can you hear us both still? Or the music stopped now? We're still running. We need your feedback. Edson, how can we set up a session? Carson, you're not too far, right? Carson. Mark, you're not too far from Carson either, really.
No, I'm pretty close.
Edson, do you know any cool places to park legally off-street and ideally overnight? Because sometimes some of these meet-up powwow sessions, you know, if we're coming to where your area is with the RV, you know, sometimes it takes half a day just to set up. And, you know, once we've got momentum going, you know, maybe I'm just going to want to probably kick it in the RV for the night, and then we could reconvene the next day. Carson's not too far, but with these RVs, we don't commute too much. You know, we don't take a lot of those 50-mile drives and back. It's way too much for just me. I tend to like cross the city like this, you know. I'll go out to the beach, and then I'll go up to Hollywood, and maybe I'll go down to Mark down there in Orange County. I'll continue on to San Diego. But if we got a crew, and some of those people can take some of those positions off my shoulders, or somebody can be a responsible driver, another navigator, another blogger for the other RV. We have a second RV, Edson, and it is possible that it could be lent out for experiments. But first we have to have like this wagon train situation where we get together in an outdoor camping place. People have their own tents or RVs to gather around. If you got your own tent, I'll throw you an extension cord. So maybe, Edson, you should come to Integral Gathering and hook up with Mark for the details of Integral Gathering. And if you guys can take care of all of that, I could take care of all the minutia of the RVs, and then we could have those kind of powwows, something like that. And what was your other question? It's just, we can do Saturday. Actually, we're all about immediacy, but this Saturday we're going to be at some other semi-structured gathering. It's the Terra Chroma 10-year anniversary. It's down in La Jolla. The forest, La Jolla. What is it? Natural Forest, La Jolla? Where is that, Mark? That location. You been down there lately? Have you been down to where that gatherings happen? Or Edson, are you familiar with Terra Chroma? TerraKroma. That's where we're going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They still have tickets if you want to come down. We're not performing at that, but we're powwow. We're having powwows at that, meeting people, and we could do something, next weekend, a weekend after this weekend. What is that? November the whatever? We'll figure it out. Well, we are scaling down because we do have a big day tomorrow, meaning that we have to pack the little RV, take some of this gear with us, do some shopping and stuff, and then Elisa's flying into LAX, and then we're going down late night to arrive at Terra Chroma. So it's kind of a big day. So I want to give you guys the 14-minute warning. At midnight, I think we'll draw it to a close. So last questions, you got to lodge those questions now. Or Mark, you want to wrap?
Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I'm going to try a trick right now and see if the music comes through. I'm going to change the microphone to Soundflower. So here's a test.
All right. We've lost Mark at the moment as he changes his audio source. But maybe this will be the outro music of all of this. Yeah, schedule a session sometime where there's no plans. Definitely. Send me messages, Edson, and regular phone calls are good too. Sometimes it's good getting outside the Facebook. That sounds good, Mark. Yes. Call this one, man. We lost you. We lost your audio, Mr. Experimentation. Where are you? Okay, your audio is back. We have the Mark Trance show closing out the show. warning. 5-minute warning. Yeah. All right, man. Put that, whatever that one is, pin that one so you could play that one. Maybe next week we'll put it through the proper speakers, and we'll keep working on the formula of making this thing happen. Mark Trant's original track. What's the name of that track? What's the name of that track? Uh-oh. Did we lose the stream, you guys? Are we still there? Mark, are you still there? Okay. Temporarily, it looks like the audio is all mine, so I'm going to give you guys maybe an outro here. What happens if I press this button? Okay, Mark, you're back. We caught you by surprise. So any last words on our 2-minute? Edson wants to know what DAW do you use. Ableton Live Pro Tools, yeah. Yeah. Ideally, you guys, I use Ableton Live and Resolume for VJing, which makes it a lot easier to put that into the live stream rather than trying to do it through Wirecast, which is kind of insane. Ideally, it's 3 different Macintoshes to make this happen, and it gets to be absurd when I'm trying to throw the whole thing down myself. But thanks for watching our practice session, pretty much, you know. Mark, what part is what's causing that particular? What are you laughing at? Comment or which part of it? All right, I'm canceling you out. What happens if I press this button? Once again, there we go. You're superimposed. You got Elisa Leclerc waving goodnight she's giving you the peace sign, Mark Trance. She's superimposed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's midnight. It's midnight. We're shutting down this broadcast. I'm hacking the broadcast to a close. Whoever is still here, we thank you. The 4 last viewers, you guys have a pretty good your filter's not too intense. I appreciate that. Have a pretty wide open filter for experimentation. And once again, culture hacking from the feminine perspective. Elisa, thank you for getting us started on the whole dang thing. We'll be hearing from you in the next episode as well. So it's my challenge to juggle these things correctly so all of you guys can be properly heard in this format. So the comments are super appreciated. Mark, last words? Because we're going sayonara in a minute.
I love you.
Yeah, bro. You know, heartfelt. Thanks for weighing
Truly.
in. It's for real. It's spanning many years and many adventures. I think this one will be a good one to repeat sometime soon. We recorded the whole thing to disc too, so we'll see if Wirecast could help us capture the better moments and learn from the mistakes of the feedbacks and stuff.
Edson, I'll add a Miami bass line or a funky bass line. That's it. It's doing it.
For sure. Yes, good night, Edson. We are friended. We will connect. Jonathan, have a good time. Report in from Thailand. Let's see some of your visuals. Tommy McCarthy, we're going to have to do lunch. Naj, fantastic to see you. Talk about movements in other cultures. And Merry Pranksters, I bid you all a fantastic evening, and we start again next Wednesday. Tell your friends. Who knows what's going to happen next week? I'm going to practice the hell out of the software and make it a little bit smoother for y'all. Thanks for the encouragement. Right on, Mark?
Right on, brother. We do this thing. What is this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do this thing, this namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste. Every dog should have its day. SolarSonic, Cyberdelic, Culture Hacking, thank you for participating. Episode 1. Over and out.
Namaste.
Ciao, Mark. Okay, we're still recording to disc. That's